वागीशाख्या सुमनसः सत्त्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्या स्युभूतं नमामि गजाननम् पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितं भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितं पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमान्यम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् योगिनं विश्वनाथाख्यम् अस्मत्तातस्वरूपिणम् आत्मलाभात्परं लाभम् भक्तारं न कदाचन गीतार्थग्रन्थकर्तारं श्रीगुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मे वाचं धृतिं बुद्धिं प्रचोदयात् ॐ नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमः ॐ Friends, we are now going to have Gita Regimen for Advatic Living, number 30. We are going to see shlokas 27 to 29 of the 5th chapter and also a recap of chapter 5. But before I begin, I have to apologize to you on a mess up that I made in the shloka number 21 in the previous session, number 29. Bhashyasparsheshvasaktatma vindatyatmaniyat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshayyamasnute. Completely indifferent or unattached to external contacts, one enjoys a lot of happiness. Who enjoys that? Sa Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma, who is totally absorbed in Brahma Yoga, that is, in the contemplation, in the absorption of Brahman. He enjoys infinite bliss. Sukham akshayam asnute. Instead of saying this, I gave a small, slightly different interpretation, which is wrong. Let us not, I would like to erase that. Of course, that has already been erased from that lecture, but even then there might be a slight slurring up. Kindly excuse me. I have now given you the correct interpretation of number 21. All other portions of the lecture number 29 are okay. So with that apology, let me start. चक्षुश्चैवान्तरे भ्रुवोः प्राणापानो समकृत्वां नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ. This is shloka number 27. I am going to take shloka number 28 also together. Yatendriya buddhihi munirmokshaparayanaham vigatechhabhayakrodaham yassada mukchaye vasaham. Simply, sparshan kritva bahidbhashyan, bhashyan sparshan, external contacts, bahihi kritva, keeping it out. That's all what that says. Sparshan kritva bahidbhashyan, external contact, bravo, fixing the eye between the eyebrows at that juncture. We will come to that presently. But first let me tell you, 27 and 28 give you a jhalak, that is a preview of chapter 6. Chapter 6 deals with Dhyana Yoga. And why Dhyana Yoga now? Why did he skip to, jump to Dhyana Yoga now? Go back to shloka 24, 25, 26. Yontas sukhantarāramaham tathantar jyotirevayagam sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto adhigacchati. That is number 24, a famous shloka. What does it say? It describes a brahmajnani, a jivan mukta. He tarāramaha antarjyoti. His happiness is totally inside. There is no such happiness coming from outside for him. Antarāramaha, he is totally at peace with whatever is inside, the Atma. Antarjyoti, he sees light, capital L. He sees light, the only light that is from the inside. So such a person Sa yogi Brahma Nirvanam sa yukta sa sukhi naraha. So he is the one who obtains Brahma Nirvanam, he is the yogi, he is the happiest person. That's what that he says. Right? 24. So in order to reach that Brahma Nirvana is a total absorption of the consciousness in Brahman. Everything else extinguished. Nirvana. Nothing else is there. Only Brahman is there. So that is the goal of Brahma Nirvana. So how to get to that? To get to that, the whole of the 5th chapter is for that. Karma and sannyasa. 5th chapter begins with karma and talks about sannyasa, and that is why this is called Karma Sannyasa Yoga, this chapter. This is the Brahma Yoga talked about in 21. What is the 21? I told you just now. Bhashyasparshe svasakta atma vindatyatmanayat sukham sa Brahma Yoga yukta atma. So Brahma Yoga. So this, to attain to this Brahma Yoga, the route is through Dhyana Yoga of the 6th chapter. That is why we are referring to Dhyana Yoga now. Remember, the 5th chapter has 3 key words embedded into it. Actionlessness, Naham Karta. Then there is a Brahma Bhava, Samatva Buddhi. These are the key words and ideas that are embedded in the whole of the 5th chapter. And now we are saying the methodology to go to that Brahma Nirvana or the meditation. That is what he is trying to describe here. Sparshanam Kristva Bahirbhashyan, Bhashyan Sparshan, external contacts, keep them out. Here, in a very short 2 shlokas, he is able to give you a gist and a capsule summary of the entire yoga of meditation, which comes in this 6th chapter. The yoga of meditation is very elaborately described in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. That the Yoga Sutras elaborately describe how to meditate, what is meditation, what are the effects of meditation. But the Dhyana Yoga of the 6th chapter and the Dhyana of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there is a subtle difference which you have to know. The goal of Dhyana Yoga of the 6th chapter, so that thing. So that is the goal of Dhyana Yoga. But the goal of Patanjali's description in Yoga Sutra, Patanjali lived long ago. We do not know whether he was before the Gita, before Gita was mentioned, was propounded, or after that. It is there are, in fact, the Upanishads are full of yoga ideas. So the yoga ideas have been collected by Patanjali in about 196 sutras or something. But the goal of Patanjali's description in his Yoga Sutras is the Samadhi state. The Jivan Mukta described in 524, 5th chapter, shloka 24. I am referring to shloka of chapter 24 because that is the famous complete description of a Jivan Mukta, which you can take it for granted. Antasukha, Antararama, Antarjyoti, Sa Brahma Yogi, Brahma Nirvanam. So that Jivan Mukta, this transcends the Samadhi state. The Samadhi state is only a kind of a on the way route, on the way. So now we are beginning that yoga description, Sparshan Kristva Bahirbhashyan. So I have to tell you something about the yoga now. I am taking this opportunity to tell you something about the yoga of Patanjali, because for most of the time Krishna accepts the Patanjali description of the yoga, as you will see presently. Yoga actually is described in several Upanishads of the 108 Upanishads. Actual fact are called Yoga-Upanishads because they describe yoga, concentrate on the description of yoga. One of them, Yoga Tattvopanishad, mentions 4 kinds of yoga: Mantra Yoga, Laya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga. Mantra Yoga is doing a japa of a mantra to which one holds on for 12 years at least. The fruit of this is great, is obtainment of various siddhis, various miraculous powers. Only the lowest class of yoga seekers will resort to this kind of Laya Yoga is the concentration of the mind, Laya concentration, absorption, and its absorption in the chit. Hatha Yoga concentrates on pranayama, the control of the breath, in-breath and out-breath, and physical perfection of the body. Hatha Yoga. So Mantra Yoga, Laya Yoga, Hatha Yoga. Raja Yoga is the yoga of meditation. But it has the property, it has the great quality of combining the other 3, the Mantra Yoga, Laya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, all 3 are combined in a symbiotic way in Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga is the yoga of meditation. Now, we will go to the Patanjali Yoga Sutra barely. We will just touch the fringes. We will not go into it because that will itself take several lectures. Patanjali Yoga Sutra names its yoga as Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga, 8 limbs. What are the 8 limbs? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Krishna is going to concentrate on only a few of them. So I have to tell you what is it that he is quickly brushing out and what is it that he is emphasizing. So Yama is the first of the 8 limbs. Ashtanga. What is Yama? They are moral, Yama means control, moral precepts involving internal self-discipline. Moral precepts involving internal self-discipline. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya. I am now quoting from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, Yama. So Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigraha, 5 things constitute Yama. What are the 5 things? Ahimsa, non-violence. Satya, truthfulness. You see, all these things are don'ts. Do not speak untruth, do not be violent, do not steal, Brahmacharya, continence, and non-acquisitiveness, aparigraha. You know, Krishna himself uses aparigraha word very often. We have seen that. So that is non-acquisitiveness. 5 things: non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, continence, non-acquisitiveness. These precepts are unhampered by any birth or caste difference, any place difference, any time difference, any occasion, any purpose. Jati, Desha, Kala, and again Sutra, Patanjali's quotation. Jati, Desha, Kala, Samaya, Anavachanna, Sarvabhauma, Mahavratam. The contact. So these precepts are unhampered by either jati, birth or caste, or desha, or place, or kala, any time, or samaya, or occasion. Sarvabhaumaha, anavachanna. There is no purpose which governs it. So this is yama, 5 moral precepts. Then niyama. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama. So Yama, then Niyama. Niyama is the set of 5 observances. External discipline. Yama is a kind of an internal restraint. Niyama is the set of 5 observances. External discipline. Purity, contentment, austerity or mortification, studies and devotion to God. 5 things. Saucha, Santosha, Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani, Niyamaha. So he says, what are the niyamas? Right? Saucha, cleanliness, Santosha, contentment, Tapaha, austerity, Ishvara Pranidhanani, that is studies and devotion. First 2 limbs, Yama and Niyama, are the first 2 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga. 3rd and 4th limbs of Ashtanga Yoga are Asana and Pranayama. Asana is posture, Pranayama is breath control. Krishna is going to deal with them just in 1 or 2 sentences, 1 or 2 shlokas. We will come to that at that time. Yama, Asana and Pranayama are preliminaries to the actual process of meditation. Yama and Niyama are fundamental ethical principles of do's and don'ts. Niyamas are do's, Yama are don'ts. And Asana, Pranayama. But the central prerequisite of Ashtanga Yoga, of Dhyana Yoga, of Vedanta, 6th chapter of Gita is Dhyana Yoga of Vedanta. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is the yoga described as in the Yoga Shastra. Yoga of the 6th chapter, Vedanta mode, is the 5th limb of Ashtanga Yoga. Pratyahara. 5th limb. What is Pratyahara? What is Ahara? Intake of anything, consumption. Pratyahara, it is outside. It is the opposite of that. What is the opposite of intake? Outtake. I mean, if you can coin such a word. Outtake. This is where Krishna begins his description of yoga. Sparshan kritva bahirbhachan. So, keeping out the external contacts, that is the pratyahara. Allowing nothing to come in. Allowing nothing to come in. There are the 6th chapter, but in other chapters we have already seen some of them about this pratyahara. Krishna is never tired of talking about pratyahara, mentioning it as an important thing. Pratyahara, shloka 58 of 2nd chapter. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashaham Indriyani indriyatebhyastasya prajna pratishthitam. Like a tortoise which draws in its limbs, 8 limbs inside, 5 limbs, all the 5 limbs inside, whenever obstacle arrives. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashah. Just as the tortoise withdraws all its 5 limbs inside all the time, I mean from all sides, indriyani indriyarthebhyaha, if you can, indriyani indriyarthebhyaha, from the indriyarthebhyaha, if you can draw the senses inside, tasya prajna pratishtita, he is the sthita prajna. Shloka number 58 of 2nd chapter. So that is pratyahara. So pratyahara is described by Krishna many times. Tamani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matpara vashehi yasya indriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Tamani sarvani, all the indriyas, samyama, restraint. Sarvani samyamya, all of them restraining. Yukta asita matpara, the intent totally on me, matpara, yukta asita, sit quietly. That is the prajna, brahmajnani. That is 61, shloka number 61 of 2nd chapter. And then 68, tasmadhyasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishthitam. Whoever can withdraw his indriyas from all these indriyarthas. The indriyas are to be withdrawn, the senses are to be withdrawn from the sense objects. He repeats this half shloka. Indriyani indriyartebhya tasya prajna pratishtita. He never repeats the half verse like this. This is a rare occasion. Krishna rarely repeating a half verse. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarvate arjuna karmendriye karmayogam asakta sabhishishyate. Definition of asakta. Definition: yastu indriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna. If the senses are to be controlled. Yaspindriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna. Controlling the senses, you do all your actions. Guna guneshu vartante iti muktva nasajjate. Again, 28, shloka number 28 of 3rd chapter. Guna gune, these gunas of the inside, there are gunas there. The outside, there are gunas. All the material world is made up of gunas. And we have got the 3 gunas inside. Guna guneshu vartante. These gunas are only interacting with those gunas. Guna guneshu vartante iti muktva nasajjate. So I have nothing to do with that. One does not get attached. So this is pratyahara. Pratyahara is described by Krishna in several different ways because that is the most important thing. Tasmat tvamindriyanya adoniyam bharatarishabha papmanam prajahishyena jnana vijnanasas. The first thing that you have to do, tasmat tvamindriyani adau. The first thing that you have to do is to draw your senses back. Tasmat tvamindriyanyadu, and control them. That is what here Krishna starts again his yoga by saying sparshanam kritva vahirbhashyan, controlling, keeping out all the external contacts. Keeping out all the external contacts. That is how he begins. So then, now you follow the shloka number 27. External contacts. Bahihi kritva, keeping it outside. Chachushchaiva, the eyes. Chachuhu. Antare bhruvoho. Bhruvoho antare, the eyebrows, the center. Keeping it there. This is rather difficult. But that portion is the eye, between the eyebrows. That portion is a very important place. That is where the Ajna, just behind that is the Ajna chakra. Of the various chakras, the last but one Ajna chakra, afterwards Sahasrara chakra. So this is where the 3 nadis meet. Sushumna nadi, Ila on the left and Pingala on the right. Ila nadi and Pingala nadi, the 3 nadis meet there and then go in one direction, namely towards the Sahasrara chakra. Incidentally, there are 3 places or locations where the absolute Brahman may be visualized. Visualize Brahman. Brahman is not a thing to be visualized. But to think of Brahman and to think of some place where you will associate it, with which you will associate it, there are 3 places. You can guess the sun. Number 1, the inside of the heart. Right? The inside of the heart, which is beautifully described in the Narayana Sutta, Uttara Narayana. So the inside of the heart. And 3rd is the space between the eyebrows. Space between the eyebrows. That is why all the Hindus are required to place a kind of a tilak, a mark with devotion at that place. Then concentrate on that. So that is where it says, keeping the eyes as it were between the eyebrows. It is very difficult to keep the eyes on the space between the eyebrows. So Shankaracharya says, as it were, as if, keep the eyes on that. So then, Sparshan Kritva Vahibhashyan Chachushchaivantare Bhruvo. I am still in shloka number 27. Pranapano Samukritva. Samukritva, equalizing what? The Pranapano. This is the pranayama exercise. The pranayama, the prana, its usual route is nasabhyam taracharino. It goes through the nostrils constantly. We know that. So then, keeping that, we continue now. Shloka number 28. Yatendriya mano buddhi. Yata indriya mano buddhi. Mind and intellect and senses. Body, mind, intellect. Yata, completely controlled. Munihi, this sage. Mokshaparayanaha, mumukshu. Mokshaparayanaha means totally intent on that final moksha. Nothing else. You will not be attracted, you will not be distracted by anything else. When somebody has to come up to this Munir Mokshaparayanaha, Isendriya Manabuddhi, he has thrown away all his raga, bhaya and krodha. But Krishna is never again tired of mentioning this point. Raga, bhaya, krodha. Desire, fear and anger. Desire, fear and anger. Vitaraga, bhaya, krodha. Yes, say it there. You know, you may remember, he has said Vitaraga, bhaya, krodha in the second chapter, third chapter, everywhere. So, Ichha, Bhaya, Krodha. Ichha is desire, Bhaya is fear, Krodha is anger, Vigatecha, Bhaya, Krodha. Yatindriya Manobudhi. So the description of the meditative posture is given here. Sparshan, Bhashyan, I am reading both shloka 27 and 28, putting them together. Bhashyan, Sparshan, Bahikritva, all the external contacts, keep them outside. Ramakrishna used to say, Sage Ramakrishna used to say, when somebody asked him, how do you throw away, how do you ignore the external? You are moving, you are speaking with people, you are doing this, you are doing that, but how are you throwing away, discarding all these things? You are totally absorbed in Brahman, in the goddess all the time. How is it? He says, whenever I want to throw them away, I simply close the door. As if there is a door, as if you can close it. We cannot close even our ears. Even when we close our eyes, we are able to see from the inside of the eyes. And closing the mouth and tongue is the most. So that is Ramakrishna. So Sparshan Kritva Bahirbhashyan. So that is number one. Then Chachushchayivantare Bhruvoho, the eyes concentrating on the space between the eyebrows. Pranapano Samokritva, the prana and apana, the in-breath and out-breath, equalize it. Right? Moksha Parayanaha, intent on moksha. Yatendriya Manobuddhi, controlling the body, mind, intellect, which is fundamental, of course. Vigata Ichha Bhaya Krodha. Even at this time, there should be no Ichha, no Bhaya, no Krodha. Ichha Bhaya Krodha, you know, desire comes from the past association. Bhaya comes from the future dreams. And Krodha comes from the present contacts. Ichha Bhaya Krodha. So, these things, having done that, Yasada Muktaye Vasaha, he is the one, he is always free. Sada Muktaye Vasaha. This is the capsule summary to do, and what will be the result. Sada Muktaye Vasaha. Not only that, the final is conclusion. He is saying in number 29, Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvalokamaheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shanti mrichati. Yajnatapasam bhoktaram. Mom. The Lord says mom. Actually the Lord is speaking from a highest level, Purushottama level. Because the descriptions are like that. Yajnatapasam bhoktaram. All the yajnas, all the tapas, all the rituals that you make, all the offerings that you give, to whom does it go? To the Lord. Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvalokamaheshwaram. He is the Supreme Lord, Supreme King, Maheshwara of the whole world, Bhutanam, Suhridam. For all living beings, He is the friend, Suhrit, the friend of all living beings. He is a benefactor, irrespective of any service in return, irrespective. Avyaja Karunamurti. Avyaja Karunamurti means without any reason, without any rhyme or reason, He shows His Karuna, He shows His grace. So He is always ever ready to, we trust Him. That is the Purushottama, because the Purushottama is embedded here. Me, the Purushottama, He says. You should understand me as these things. Yajnatapasam bhokta. He is the consumer. He is the addressee, so to say. You are saying Swaha, Agnaye Swaha, you are offering, but it goes to Him. So He is the consumer, He is the addressee, He is the final destination. Bhoktaram yajnatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. You see? And then Suhridam sarvabhutanam. These adjectives are for dispelling the doubt. I mean, Arjuna might say, you are sitting before me, why am I not liberated? I mean, I am so much of your friend, you are the greatest benefactor, you are here, I should have been liberated already. But Krishna says, knowing me in the form described is the only means to liberation. In the form described, do you know me? You know me only as a friend, Krishna. You see, he is going to say, Arjuna is going to accept it in the 11th chapter, that I have talked to you only like a friend, just like a buddy, I have talked to you. When, excuse me, he says at that point. So, you have to understand me as a Purushottama. Knowing me in the form described is the only means to liberation. Then, Mam Yatva Mam Shanti Mrichati. He attains peace. In fact, there is a more elaborate way of saying this in Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says almost the same thing. Nakarvihi chinmattara shanta rupe nakshanti no me animisho ledi heti yeshamaham priya atma sutascha saka guruhu surdodaivam Bhagavata 3rd skanda 25th chapter 38th shloka. Aham Priya, most devoted, my friend, object of love, Priya. Atma, your very soul, I am your very companion, Sakha. Guru, teacher, Suvradaha, friend, Ishtam Daivam, chosen deity. Those devotees who consider me like this, Matparaha Shantarupe Nakshanti, Nakarhajit Shantarupe, remain deathless in that abode of peace. Shantarupe, in the abode of peace, remain deathless. Na nakshanti, they remain deathless. Animisho ledi heti, because the unwinking time, animishaha, time, animisha means time, it is unwinking time. My weapon of universal destruction has no sway over them. Me animishara ledi hetihi. My weapon of universal destruction, namely time. Time is the weapon of universal, everything is called up, but this has no sway over them. This is the concluding shloka of chapter 5. The concept of Bhakti Yoga as the only means of salvation. It is not enough to know him. Bhoktaram yajjatapasangam sarvaloka maheshwaram jnatva mam, knowing me like this, shantimicchati. But this is the only means of salvation. This is bhakti yoga. This is what is going to come not only in the 6th chapter but in several chapters later. That brings us to the end of chapter 5. Before we close this session, we will have a recap of chapter 5. How did chapter 5 begin? Sankhya and Yoga. Subtle distinction. By the way, what is Sankhya? Renunciation. Simple meaning. But Krishna emphasizes Sankhya means renunciation with knowledge. Not mere cessation of works. Just cessation alone is not renunciation. Cessation with knowledge. And yoga is Paramartha yoga. Karma yoga together with Samatva buddhi. Karma yoga together with Samatvam yoga uchyate. So, these two are the same. Ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati tapashyati. So, this apparent difference between Sankhya, renunciation and involvement. Renunciation of action and involvement in action. Right? These two, provided there is this proper knowledge in both, they are the same. Ekam sankhyan cha yogam cha. And then he explains very elaborately the concept of actionlessness started in 3rd chapter and 4th chapter. Right? Actionlessness is the key word. Sarvabhutatma Vishuddhatma, shloka number 7. Keyword Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma, Sarvabhuta Atma Bhuta Atma. All the beings you are able to see as your own self. Sarvabhuta Atma Bhuta. Now you see, when I said you are able to see all the living beings as your own self, it is again my struggle with correct expression. That is not correct. He sees all the living beings, his self itself, all the living beings. He sees them as, means there is something there and something here, both are the same. No. This is the same. There is no difference. Sarva Bhuta, Atma Bhuta. He has become. He has become. There is a becoming there. Sarva Bhuta, Atma Bhuta, Atma. Kurvannapi nalipyate. Even though he is doing anything, he is not touched by that. Recall the famous shloka, Jnanatmi Datta Karmanam Tamaho Panditam Buddha of shloka number 19 of 4th chapter. Yasya sarve sammarambha kama sankalpa varjito. Whosoever actions are totally devoid of kama sankalpa, the desire, the desire and the will which made that desire. So, kama sankalpa varjita are rid of. Without that jnanatni, that jnana, that wisdom when it comes, jnanatni, that fire of wisdom, all the actions are consumed by that. That is why in the very next shloka he says, Karmanya abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti saham. These are all concept of actionlessness. But I am saying this concept of actionlessness is the unique standard of Hindu philosophy, Vedanta philosophy. Outside of Vedanta philosophy, I have not heard of this actionlessness. You are doing action, but you are not the doer. You are not the agent. So, Jnanagni Datta Karmanam, then that is the undercurrent that runs throughout the Gita. Only the BI mind, Shariram Kevalam Karma, you see, Kayena Manasa Buddhya Kevalai Indriyairapi, Kayena Manasa Buddhya Kevalai Indriyairapi. Only by the body, mind, Kayena Manasa Buddhya. By the body, mind, intellect. Only that they are doing this. the I am never the doer. In fact, the slow motion description is a hallmark of the 4th chapter. Naivatam chit karomi iti yukto manye tatatto pashyam sprisam jagran, touching, smelling, eating, gachan, going, swasan, sleeping, pralabam, talking, visirjan, excreting, grinnan, unmission, nimission napi, whether you are awake or not. Indriyani indriyarthebhyaha vartanta iti dharayan. The senses are interacting with the sense objects. That's all. I have nothing to do with this. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasya aste sukham vasi. Again the famous shloka. 5th chapter contains almost every shloka is a famous shloka. In fact, I would say 5th chapter is one of the most important. Karmani manasa sanyasya navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan. You are seated in this residence of 9 gates, navadvare pure, in the city of 9 gates. Sarvakarmani manasa sanyasya. All the actions you have thrown away, discarded by mind, mentally. Sanyasya aste sukham vashi. One sits quietly, happily, because he has controlled all the indriyas. Naiva kurvanna karayan. He is not doing anything, he is not causing anything to be done. And this knowledge is another concept. Of course, we got the famous shloka of Tad Buddhe Savatmanah, we have and the definition of the on the ground definition of Samabuddhi, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gabhigastini. The shloka number 17, Tad Buddhe Savatmanah, the knowledge is covered by ignorance. But when the ajnana is destroyed by that knowledge, tesham prakashayati tatparam. So for those people, tat buddhayaha, their total absorption, savatmanaha, they become the very self of Brahman, tannishtaha, absorption, total absorption, tat parayanaha, that is the ultimate refuge. Gachanti apunaravruttim jnana nirdhuta kalmasha. I showed you the parallel between this shloka and the Bhakti Yoga shloka story in Bhagavatam. I have already told you. And the on the ground definition of Samabuddhi, Vidya, one by one, from the most noble Brahman, Shuni, dog, Shopake, even the dog eater, Hastini, the tamasic elephant, all these things one sees in the same way. Pandita Samadarshana. So this is the only ground definition of Samabuddhi. And then shlokas number 19 to 26 I have talked quite a lot as a capsule summary of both the regimen, what you should do and what is the destination. Destination being 5th chapter, and we now go to the 6th chapter, which describes the Dhyana Yoga of the Vedanta style. Swasti prajabhyat paripalayantam chayena markena mahim mahishaha gurbrahmanebhyah shubhamasta nityam lokasya masta sukhino bhavantu.